Okay, good morning. This is Richard Hsu, host of Hsu Untied. This morning, I'm very pleased to have with me as my guest Sam Tiu, who's a partner at Sidley. Sam, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, Richard.
Now, Sam, you have one of the more unusual backgrounds among lawyers, at least. You have a microbiology, and molecular genetics background. Tell me a little bit about how you chose that major in the first place.
Yeah, so I was at that time I first started with the City College, and I was trained as an electron microscopist.
Hmm.
So as an electron microscopist, you actually look down details into the cells and the structure of the cells and stuff. So as I was contemplating moving to UCLA, I chose a pre-med major, but I didn't want to have a biology, just a general biology. So I chose a more, you know, cellular level, micro level type of or major, and that came out to be microbiology and molecular genetics is what they offered at that time.
Interesting. And so your career path, your career goal at that time was to become a doctor, it sounds like.
Yeah, as everybody who's in biology probably has that projection. You know, parents wanted you to, have that career. And so I love science at that time. And I do still do.
Uh-huh.
And so biology was kind of like microbiology was kind of like the step up to pre-med and
Yeah. So what happened to your medical career plans? It sounds like it didn't happen, but what happened?
it didn't happen. Embarrassing to say that I didn't do well in my interviews and I did not do well in the application process. So
Oh, interesting. Huh. Oh,
and then
so
instead, yeah, then I just started working.
yeah, right. So then what were you thinking at that time? Do you think you would just become a scientist, or what was kind of your career goals at that time?
Yeah, so at that time, it was then you got to feed yourself and find a job. And therefore, I started looking for a position to in-house with, I was a research associate at Amgen
Uh-huh.
for about almost 3 years.
Uh-huh.
I was in the neurobiology department. At UCLA, I joined a lab that was doing neurobiology work. And so we got trained in the research side, doing molecular biology. And then, there was an opening at Amgen at that time. They were starting up a neurobiology program.
Huh.
So I joined them as an associate
I
and
see.
then was there for a few years.
So how did the idea of law come into your thing? Did someone suggest it to you? How did that happen?
Even before law, I had another second career. So uh, after Amgen, I kind of like after a few years, I decided, I didn't want to be in the uh, lab all the time. And so I decided, what should I do? I actually went to sales, technical sales, for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, interesting.
This was sales of laboratory equipment, laboratory
Hmm.
reagents
Hmm.
that you would supply to research labs.
Hmm.
You know, in a sense, selling back research reagents back to Amgen, to UCLA research laboratories. So I was working for a company called Strategene at that time,
Hmm.
which was a molecular biology supply company and equipment maker.
Hmm. Hmm. And so how did you like that job? Were you any good at it?
I was good at it. I mean,
Oh,
my
interesting.
territory at first was the entire Southwest, which spanned all the way to Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Los Angeles, San Diego. After a few years, the pie got bigger, and so they have now to carve out. Okay, we need now you to focus just on Los Angeles and San Diego because now you've grown the business, and we're hiring
Oh,
people in
wow.
in Utah, and we're hiring people in Colorado and stuff. So it was fun and exciting, and it taught me business at that time.
Yeah,
Taught me
right.
how to manage business, see sort of what the industry looked like, but also got me exposed to something called patents. And it's like, okay,
Oh,
that's how
interesting.
I sort of got into the legal side.
Huh. Well, what about patents intrigued you enough that you thought, okay, I'm going to switch careers? I mean, it sounds like it was going well in sales. What
Right.
about patents intrigued you enough to make a career switch?
Yeah, at that time, so PCR was a thing at that time, right? So
Hmm.
we were selling PCR machines, we were selling PCR reagents, but we couldn't call it PCR.
Oh,
We had to
right.
call it thermocycler at that time because there was a patent by Roche on PCR or PCR process.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, even Roche sued some companies called Promega. They had a litigation in Promega. They had litigation with a company called MJ Cycler, where they were suing them for patent infringement on the PCR process and stuff.
Mm.
And as in part of strategy, and we kind of was like, okay, well, you can't call it PCR, okay? You gotta, and then we have to pay royalties and stuff. So I got interested in that kind of, okay,
Hmm.
what is this patent all about?
Hmm.
And from there, kind of like looking into what can I do next in my career. I mean, I've been in
Mm.
sales for like, for 4 or 5 years. What can I do next? And law school seems to be the law and the patent law seems to be a natural progression with my background at that time, I
Hmm.
thought. So I went to Loyola Night School.
Interesting. And what did you think about law school? Very different from being a scientist, or did you like it? I mean, obviously in law school you take everything other than patent law, but what did you think? Did you like it?
Yeah, I think I did very well. I mean, the logical process of law
Yeah.
it came at least naturally to me as a scientist, right?
Yeah.
From analyzing, a question and then applying a certain rule and testing that and stuff. So it came naturally. So I did well. It was tiring. It was tiring to be in law school. So people had 3 years. I had 4 years of law school because I went to
Right.
the night program.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay. So I take it you were when you went to law school, you were f fixed on becoming a patent lawyer. Did you think about doing something else, or you kind of had your eyes set on that?
Yeah, so there was a point in time where I was toying, well, do I want to do corporate law
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff as
Uh-huh.
well? It's sort of serendipity because I interviewed at Sidley at that time for a summer position in the corporate side
Oh,
because
interesting.
they didn't have an IP type department at that time here at Sidley. And then I also interviewed at Lion Lion for an IP position.
Right.
I was doing clerkship with them, law clerk, but at the same time, summer interviewed there for an IP, and I chose IP at that time after kind of like, okay, I really like to keep the science part of me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, fast forward now, tell me how you get to use science every day. Like, does all your cases involve biology or pharmaceuticals, or give me an idea of how you get to use science in your practice now?
Yeah, so I do still have part of my practice as biotechnology.
Uh-huh.
I do still use the molecular biology and understanding that. So a lot of the patents in the biotech field deals with the molecular biology gene side. I had cases where I would deal with PCR as well. They call it digital biology, so it sort of come full circle in that sense. So, but my practice has been broader than just the bio part, and a lot of the chemistry, organic chemistry that I've learned.
Yeah.
Pre-med, you've got to learn organic chemistry. Yeah, the physics still comes into play because I expanded into like solar cells now. I do a
Mm.
number of cases on solar cells where
Mm.
the chemical process and the physics of it comes into play.
Mm.
Um, and so in and so the science part of it makes it very interesting, and the technical aspects of it makes the job fun.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna guess when you would have never guessed that your sales career would really help you now as a law firm partner, where business development is very important. I'll bet you would have never guessed how helpful that turned out to be.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in two ways, being in sales, being looking at how a company generates revenue gives me some understanding or a better understanding, I think, when I started in law school as to how business people think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In law, we're always thinking, okay, this is a legal problem, but actually, the sales side, the revenue generation, gives me an understanding of what business people need to achieve in order to hit their goal and what we as lawyers, how we can help them achieve those. goals, and not just it's not always just okay, you can't do this and stop doing what you're doing. But it's how do you then manage those risks and how do you work through them. So that's one side from the client side, and from the business generation side, yeah, it's like I go out and I talk to people and generate leads and stuff for new clients, new opportunities. So
Yeah,
it's been
totally.
good.
Do you ever reflect on the fact that if you hadn't not gotten to medical school, you would have never found this amazing career, and how fortunate it was that you didn't get into medical school? Although maybe at the time it didn't seem fortunate.
It at that time it didn't seem fortunate. It sometimes, it's like what they said, when God closes the door, he opens a window.
Yeah.
You don't know what the next thing would lead to, and you just go one step at a time. So I didn't know that I was going to go into law when I where stop med school and into research, and then from research into sales. I didn't know that law was the final career, so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
evolved.
Is it too late to go back to medical school? Do you ever see that as a possibility?
Well, I could put that in the next generation. It's like put that pressure on my kids.
Yeah. Well, Sam, this has been a fascinating conversation. I really appreciate your taking the time to share your amazing career, and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
This is Richard Hsu and Sam Tiu. Thanks.